If you found yourself at night by the Kawaijan volcano on the island of Java, you would think you had entered another world. Imagine a slope flowing with bright blue flames, as if the moon itself were on fire. This astonishing effect is caused by sulfur gases that burst from the ground and ignite upon contact with air. The flames are so hot they can melt metal, yet they appear magical, bright like liquid neon. Tourists come from all over the world to witness this wonder, as it is simply invisible during the day. Workers extract sulfur in these extreme conditions, while at night the slopes glow like a portal to a fantastical realm. It's one of those places where nature reminds us it can create spectacles that no artist could replicate. The painting Salvator Mundi by Leonardo da Vinci is one of the most mysterious and expensive works of art on the planet. It was sold at auction for $450 million, making it the most expensive painting in history. It depicts Christ holding a glass orb, a symbol of the universe and divine knowledge. For many years, the painting was thought to be lost until restorers found it in a private collection. Debates continue over whether the brushwork truly belongs to Leonardo himself. Regardless of the answers, this artwork has become a legend, reminding us that art can endure through the ages and provoke thought. The human nose is much more than just an organ of smell. It's a true supersensor. Scientists once believed that humans could distinguish around 10,000 scents, but new research has shown that we can recognize up to 1 trillion. Our nose analyzes molecules, detects the slightest changes in the air, and instantly sends signals to the brain. This is why we can sense not only the fragrances of flowers, but also dangerous odors like smoke or gas. The nose is our invisible guardian, constantly at work even when we don't pay attention to it. Its sensitivity is one of the wonders of the human body. Some people simply don't need deodorant, and this is not a joke but a genetic fact. About 3% of the world's population has a mutation in the gene responsible for producing a specific protein in sweat glands. As a result, they lack body odor because bacteria can't process it. These lucky individuals can exercise, run marathons, and still smell fresh. Scientists believe this trait is particularly common in East Asia. Nature seems to have given some people a built-in antiperspirant, and honestly, that sounds like a superpower. In Africa, there lives a snake that seems to defy all the laws of physics. It can fly, or rather, glide through the air between trees. This amazing reptile is called the flying tree snake, and it flattens its body as if turning it into a wing. When the snake jumps from a branch, it catches the air with its curved body and glides for distances of up to 20 meters. It looks as if it is soaring like a leaf, but with much more agility. This trick helps it escape from predators and reach its prey without touching the ground. Scientists are still debating how it manages to control its flight so precisely without wings. Perhaps it senses air currents with its skin. Here you have the flying snake. Proof that nature is unafraid to experiment even with gravity. In the shady forests of New Zealand grows a mysterious plant, glowing moss. At night, it emits a gentle bluish-green light, transforming the ground into a magical carpet of light. This phenomenon is called bioluminescence. The moss produces light through a chemical reaction similar to that of fireflies. Its glow attracts insects that spread its spores, aiding in its reproduction. Tourists who have seen it with their own eyes say it feels like walking among the stars, only on the ground. Nature has created its own lantern in the darkness, proving that magic exists. You just have to wait for nightfall. In the mid-1950s, science was turned upside down when two researchers, James Watson and Francis Crick, unveiled the secret of DNA's structure. They demonstrated that the foundation of life is a double helix, resembling an elegant staircase twisted into an infinite loop. This discovery became the key to understanding heredity, diseases, and evolution. For the first time, humanity saw how information is passed from one generation to the next. This marked the beginning of an era of genetic engineering, cloning, and personalized medicine. Who would have thought that within each cell lies such a complex and beautiful code, akin to a masterfully composed symphony, where each note is a part of life itself? Our brain doesn't completely shut down when we sleep in a new place. Scientists refer to this as the first night effect. One half of the brain remains alert to protect us from potential threats. That's why we sleep worse in hotels or unfamiliar homes. It's an ancient survival instinct. The left hemisphere is more active on such nights, like a watchful dog ready to wake at the slightest noise. After a couple of nights, the brain calms down and starts to trust the new environment. It's fascinating. Even in sleep, our mind functions as a security system inherited from our distant ancestors. At first glance, it seems that trees don't move, but the baobabs of Madagascar have proven otherwise, albeit in their own way. These giants don't walk like in fairy tales, but their roots can actually crawl several meters in search of water. When moisture disappears in a dry climate, the baobab's root system seems to stretch toward areas where the soil is slightly wetter. Year after year, this creates the illusion that the tree is moving. Scientists marvel at this trick of nature. It's how plants survive in conditions where almost everything else perishes. The baobab has not only adapted, but has also become a symbol of resilience and patience. It seems to whisper, "Don't rush. Just grow where there is life." Paper can be stronger than steel. And this is not a metaphor, but a scientific fact. Special processing technologies transform ordinary cellulose fibers into an ultra-strong material. In Japan, for example, they make traditional washi paper, which can withstand enormous loads and is even used in bulletproof vests. Its multi-layer structure and resin impregnation give it incredible flexibility and durability. Scientists are inspired by these properties to create lightweight yet strong protective materials. Who would have thought that a humble sheet of paper could compete with metal and become the shield of the future? The word dude once sounded like a mockery rather than a friendly greeting. In the 19th century, it referred to men who were overly concerned with fashion and manners, something akin to fops or dandies. But language, like people, can change. By the mid-20th century, dude had evolved into a term of camaraderie, especially in California and among surfers. Today, it serves as a universal address. You can call a friend, neighbor, or random passerby this way. Interestingly, a term that started as an insult has transformed into a symbol of ease and friendliness. Language has a life of its own, and that's what makes it so fascinating. The largest living organism on Earth is neither a whale nor a sequoia, but a giant fungus that hides underground like a network of millions of thin threads. This remarkable fungus, known as honey fungus, grows in the Malheur National Forest in the state of Oregon. Its mycelium, the underground part, stretches for thousands of meters, covering an area roughly equivalent to 2,500 acres. Imagine this. It's as if an entire city were one living organism. The fungus grows slowly but steadily, connecting trees, exchanging nutrients with them, and even communicating chemically. Scientists refer to it as the wood wide web. While we only see small mushrooms on the surface, beneath our feet lies a true giant that is thousands of years old. You can make change for $1 in almost 300 ways, specifically 293. Coins of different denominations create thousands of combinations: pennies, nickels, dimes, quarters, and half dollars. Mathematicians refer to this as an example of combinatorics, the science of counting all possible variations. At first glance, it seems like just spare change, but in reality, it's a small universe of numbers. This play with coins illustrates how complex our monetary world is and how even the simplest things hold a whole mathematics within them. The next time you receive change, consider that you might be holding a miniature formula for infinity. Ancient mirrors could pose a real threat. They didn't just reflect light, they could even ignite something if handled carelessly. In antiquity, mirrors were made not of glass but of polished metal, bronze, copper, or silver. When sunlight reflected off their convex surfaces, it converged at a single point like a lens, creating a dazzling shine or even fire. Such mirrors were used by the wealthy as they were expensive and required constant polishing. Some archaeologists believe that these mirrors inspired legends of magical mirrors, capable of not only showing reflections, but also controlling light. Thus, ancient mirrors were not just household items, but true optical wonders, and possibly the source of a few fires. The largest snowflake in history was so enormous that it could be mistaken for a plate. And this is not a fairy tale, but a fact recorded by meteorologists. In 1887, a snowflake measuring about 15 inches wide and 8 inches thick fell in the state of Montana. Imagine a snowflake the size of an adult's palm. Scientists believe that such giant crystals form under special conditions, when the air is very humid and the frost is mild. In these circumstances, snowflakes clump together, grow, and turn into true ice masterpieces. One could say it was the snowy version of a soap bubble. Fragile, wonderful, and instantly disappearing. But this case forever entered the record books, proving that nature loves to surprise us even in places where we thought we had seen it all. Mosquitoes once helped solve a crime. And this is not a detective story, but a real case. In Finland, the police found a crushed mosquito in a stolen car. Forensic experts took a blood sample from its body and were able to determine the DNA of the criminal. Thus, the tiny insect became the key to the solution. It turned out that female mosquitoes feed on blood to lay eggs, often taking evidence with them. This case has gone down in the history of forensics as an example of how nature can aid justice. Even the smallest piece of life can tell the truth if you know how to listen. Toads are true survival experts, as they can comfortably live away from water, unlike their frog relatives. This is due to their unique skin. It is thicker and less permeable, which helps retain moisture within their bodies. While frogs need constant access to water to prevent their skin from drying out, toads can go for weeks without a body of water, hiding in the shade or damp soil. This is why you might encounter a toad even in your garden, far from a pond. Evolution has taught them to thrive in places where many amphibians cannot survive. So when you see a toad, remember that it's not just a hopping creature, but a true land traveler that has conquered an environment to which its relatives have not adapted. Octopuses are among the most devoted parents on the planet, willing to sacrifice their own lives for their offspring. The female lays thousands of tiny eggs, firmly attaching them to the ceiling of an underwater cave, and tirelessly guards them from predators. She fans the clutch with streams of water, cleans it, and monitors each embryo, not allowing herself to be distracted by anything else. For weeks of waiting, she eats nothing, gradually losing strength until the moment of hatching arrives. After that, the mother octopus dies from exhaustion, leaving behind a new generation. Scientists refer to this as an example of absolute maternal instinct, as the octopus gives everything it has for the continuation of life. Peanuts, despite their nutty name, are not actually nuts at all. Botanically speaking, they belong to the legume family, which includes beans and peas. Their fruits develop underground rather than on branches, and they lack the typical hard shell of true nuts. However, their taste and nutritional value have made peanuts a favorite among millions. They are rich in proteins, fats, and vitamins, and their oil is one of the most popular in the world. It's amusing that an entire generation enjoys nuts without realizing they are underground legumes. Nature has played another trick on us, and it must be said, it's quite delicious. Stonehenge is one of the most mysterious structures on Earth, and no one really knows why it was built. This stone circle, erected thousands of years ago, impresses with its precision. The massive stones are arranged in such a way that they perfectly align with the position of the sun during the solstices. Some scholars believe it was an ancient observatory, while others think it served as a site for rituals and healing. However, how people of that era moved these multi-ton stones without machinery remains a mystery. Stonehenge acts as a bridge between science and magic, reminding us that our ancestors understood the sky far better than we tend to think. Many believe that organic food is healthier, tastier, and almost magical, but science takes a more measured view. Research shows that the difference in vitamins and minerals between conventional and organic products is negligible. Of course, organic food contains fewer pesticides and is grown without chemical fertilizers, which is good for the environment. However, when it comes to health benefits, there are no miracles. An apple remains an apple regardless of how it's grown. People often note that the taste of clean products seems richer, possibly because they feel more environmentally conscious. Ultimately, choosing between organic and conventional food is a matter of philosophy. Some prioritize taste, while others value the feeling of eating with care for the planet. Giraffes are true champions of sleep deprivation. They only need about half an hour of sleep a day. These amazing giants rest while standing, sometimes lowering their heads for just a few minutes. Such short naps help them avoid becoming easy prey for predators. Their long necks and keen eyesight allow them to spot danger from afar, so even in their sleep, they remain alert. Scientists are still amazed at how the body can function on such a small amount of rest. Perhaps giraffes have simply found the perfect balance between safety and sleep, becoming a living symbol of nature's vigilance. The giant weta is a true marvel of the insect world, weighing more than a sparrow and capable of frightening even an entomologist. These giant crickets live in New Zealand and can reach lengths of up to 10 centimeters and weights of around 70 grams. Despite their intimidating appearance, wetas are peaceful creatures that feed on leaves and fruits. Their massive bodies are a result of evolution on islands where there were no terrestrial mammals and thus no strong predators. Scientists consider the weta to be one of the oldest insects on the planet. Looking at it feels like peering into the past, into a world before dinosaurs. These heavyweights of nature remind us that even within a tiny body, a true story of the planet can be hidden. Turtles are living relics. traveling through millions of years of history. These ancient creatures appeared long before dinosaurs and still carry armor that has become part of their skeleton. Their shell is not just a form of protection, but a living fortress connected to their spine and ribs. Turtles have survived extinctions, ice ages, and climate changes, proving that patience is the best survival strategy. Some species live for over 150 years and cross oceans in search of food. They serve as a reminder to nature. Strength lies not in speed, but in resilience, and the true winners are those who know how to wait. On distant Pluto lies a glacier that rivals the size of Texas and Oklahoma combined, and it looks absolutely fantastic. Scientists have named it Sputnik Planitia, and this glacier is made not of water like on Earth, but of frozen nitrogen. Moreover, it is not static. The surface flows slowly like a living organism. In the center of the area, there is a shape resembling a giant heart, which has become a symbol of Pluto in images from the New Horizons spacecraft. Despite the freezing temperatures of -200 degrees, this planet teems with its own kind of life. Geological, not biological. This glacier reminds us that even billions of kilometers from the sun, the world can be remarkably active and beautiful. Pluto seems to say, I may be small, but I'm not boring. You might not believe it, but there are more plastic flamingos in the world than real ones, and this is not a joke, but a statistical fact. It all started in the 1950s when designer Don Featherstone created a pink plastic flamingo for lawn decoration. This toy suddenly became a symbol of American suburbs, carefree joy, and even self-irony. Over time, their numbers grew to millions, more than the actual flamingos, of which there are not many left in the wild. Plastic birds have spread across the globe. Some display them for beauty, others for fun, and some out of nostalgia. It's amusing that a toy originally intended just as decor has turned into a cultural phenomenon. So now, wherever you see a pink flamingo on a lawn, know that it's part of a larger story. Elephants, despite their weight and grandeur, sometimes enjoy a little drink, all without human involvement. In the hot African savannas grows the marula tree, whose fruits, when overripe, begin to ferment naturally. Elephants love these fruits and consume them by the kilogram, unaware that they are getting a bit tipsy. After such a feast, they become lethargic, slow, and sometimes even lie down to rest. Scientists debate how real this effect is, but one thing is clear. Elephants adore marula and won't miss the chance to indulge. It's amusing to think that somewhere in Africa, a massive elephant might be peacefully waiting out a hangover in the shade of the very tree that treated it. Some snakes still bear traces of their ancient ancestors with legs. Boas and pythons have tiny bony protrusions near their tails, rudimentary legs resembling tiny spurs. These remnants are mute witnesses to the fact that millions of years ago their forebears walked on four limbs. Over time, evolution did its work, transforming them into perfect gliding hunters. Scientists refer to these bones as windows to the past, as they prove that nature does not erase the old, but merely hides it deeper. Each of these snakes seems to carry a small souvenir from the age of dinosaurs. Yoda's appearance in Star Wars is partially inspired by Albert Einstein's face, and now you won't be able to unsee it. The filmmakers were looking for a wise figure who appeared kind, intelligent, and a bit weary, like someone who has seen a lot. The artists at Lucasfilm took photographs of Einstein and used his wrinkles, gaze, and facial expression as the basis for Yoda's design. Thus, the genius of science lent features to the genius of Jedi philosophy. This is a remarkable example of how art and science intertwine even in ways we don't notice. When Yoda says, "Much to learn you still have," it feels as if Einstein himself is looking at us and winking. Yes, learning is the path to power. Snails are the world champions of sleep, as they can hibernate for up to 3 years straight, and that's no exaggeration. When it gets too hot or dry, a snail retreats into its shell, seals the entrance with a mucus film, and enters a state of dormancy. Its body slows down to a minimum, nearly halting its metabolism. This is how it endures tough times, be it drought or cold. Then, when the rains return, the snail wakes up and continues its slow journey as if nothing happened. Scientists call this resilience, but I would say it's a philosophy of life. In a world where everyone is in a hurry, the snail reminds us that sometimes the best way to survive is simply to slow down and wait for the storm to pass. Scientists are already on the brink of a future where electricity can be transmitted wirelessly, like magic from science fiction. The principle is based on the use of magnetic fields or laser beams capable of transferring energy over distances. It sounds incredible, but initial experiments are already successful. A light bulb lights up without a socket, and a phone charges from afar. The idea is not new. Nikola Tesla dreamed of a world without wires, where energy flows freely through the air like radio waves. Today, his vision is gradually coming to life in laboratories around the globe. In a few decades, we might forget the word charging, as everything around us will power itself. From headphones to cars. Imagination is becoming reality, and it's very electric. The scent of freshly cut grass that we love so much is actually not a fragrance of nature, but a cry for help. When the blade of a scythe or lawnmower cuts the grass, the plants release special substances known as green volatile compounds. This chemical signal warns neighboring plants. Attention, we are being cut. In response, nearby blades of grass activate protective reactions to prepare for damage. Meanwhile, humans perceive this signal as a pleasant summer aroma. Ironic, isn't it? We enjoy a scent that signifies pain and distress for the grass itself. Yet without this scent of alarm, summer might not feel quite so recognizable. Nature knows how to smell beautiful even in suffering. The ancient Egyptians were the first to create a calendar that was remarkably accurate for its time. They divided the year into 12 months of 30 days and added 5 extra days to account for the solar cycle. This calendar helped predict the flooding of the Nile, a crucial event for agriculture. The Egyptians observed the stars, particularly the bright Sirius, whose appearance in the sky signaled the start of the new year. This invention became one of the greatest achievements of ancient science, as it allowed people to measure time not only by the sun but also by the stars. Sometimes a tiny detail can change everything, and the New York Times proved this with an example that has gone down in design history. In 1967, the editorial team decided to remove a tiny dot from the end of its logo. It seemed like a trivial matter, but that dot consumed a significant amount of ink each year. After calculations, it turned out that the newspaper saved hundreds of dollars annually, which translates to thousands in today's terms. This decision became a symbol of frugality and demonstrated how attention to detail can yield real benefits. Now, this case is shared with designers and economists, reminding them that sometimes great things start with a dot, or rather, its absence. It's impossible to breathe and swallow at the same time, and if you try it now, you'll realize that your body simply won't allow it. The key lies in a small but crucial valve in our throat, the epiglottis. When we swallow, it instantly closes off the airway to prevent food or water from entering the trachea. This process happens so quickly that we don't even recognize how important it is. Imagine if it didn't exist. Every sip of water could end in choking or something much worse. Nature created this mechanism as a built-in safety system that saves us hundreds of times a day. We drink, eat, and talk, while our epiglottis works tirelessly, like an unnoticed hero guarding our breath. The Eiffel Tower can grow, and it does so every summer. When it gets hot in Paris, the metal of the tower heats up and expands, making it a few centimeters taller. It may seem like a small detail, but it's a living reminder that even sturdy structures obey the laws of nature. When autumn arrives and the temperature drops, the Iron Lady contracts again and returns to her usual height. Tourists may not notice this, but engineers certainly do. The tower breathes, along with the weather. It's almost alive, and its summer stretching is a poetic example of how architecture and physics dance together. Hippos literally sweat blood, although it's not blood at all. Their skin secretes a special reddish fluid that acts as a natural sunscreen and antiseptic. This sweat protects the animals from the scorching sun and infections while they spend hours in the water. Scientists refer to this remarkable substance as blood sweat, even though it has nothing to do with blood. Thanks to it, hippos can bask in the sun without getting burned or losing moisture. It's as if nature has given them a personal sunscreen, perfectly adapted to the heat of the African savannas. Ghost cities of China are true monuments to human ambition and economic paradoxes. Vast neighborhoods filled with skyscrapers, parks, and highways stand nearly empty, built for millions of residents. The most famous example is Ordos, designed for 1 million people but inhabited by only thousands. Here, silence reigns, storefronts are vacant, and the roads are impeccably clean with no cars in sight. The reasons for this phenomenon vary, from inflated population growth forecasts to challenges with employment and housing prices. These cities are astonishing, They appear modern yet lack life. True mirages of the urban era. If you saw a baby flamingo, you wouldn't believe it would grow into a pink beauty. When these birds are born, their feathers are grayish-white, and they look quite modest. But over time, their diet changes their color, in a literal sense. Flamingos feed on tiny shrimp and algae rich in carotenoids, the same pigments that give carrots their orange hue. These substances color their feathers, turning the flock into a pink cloud against the water. The better the diet, the more vibrant the color. This is a striking example of how even appearance can depend on food. So flamingos are living proof of the saying, "We are what we eat." The brightest fruit on the planet grows in Africa and is called Pollia condensata. This bright blue fruit reflects light so intensely that it appears to glow from within. Its color is not due to pigment. Rather, it is an optical effect created by the structure of the cells that reflect light like a mirror. Scientists say it is the brightest natural shade of blue in the living world. Although the fruit is inedible, it has become a subject of study, inspiring engineers to create new materials with unusual luster. Pollia is an example of how nature can create beauty that surpasses even the boldest human inventions. Plastic bags may seem harmless, but they are true long livers on the planet, as their decomposition takes hundreds of years. Imagine, a bag you used for just a couple of minutes can remain on Earth longer than your great-grandchildren. Under sunlight, plastic gradually breaks down into microparticles, turning into microplastics that end up in soil, water, and even air. Scientists are finding it everywhere, from the depths of the ocean to snowy peaks. This invisible waste has become a global issue. So, when a store offers you a single-use bag, remember that each convenient item lasts for centuries. It's better to take a cloth bag. Nature will thank you. If you had ears like an owl, you would hear exactly where the mouse is hiding under the snow. These birds have asymmetrical ears, one higher than the other, and this makes them true masters of three-dimensional hearing. When an owl listens, it literally sees with sound, distinguishing pitch, direction, and distance to the source. This helps it catch prey accurately even in complete darkness. Scientists believe this ability developed due to their nocturnal lifestyle. Owls hear so precisely that they can detect a faint squeak from several dozen meters away. Their heads can turn almost 360 degrees. But it's not just that. It's their ears that make them the queens of the night sky. That's why silence is not a barrier for an owl, but an ideal hunting ground. The capybara is the largest rodent on the planet and perhaps the most good-natured creature in South America. It can weigh over 60 kilograms and reach a meter in length. Yet it leads a calm, almost philosophical lifestyle. Capybaras live in large groups, love water, and can hold their breath underwater for up to 5 minutes. Their friendliness is remarkable. They coexist peacefully with other animals and even allow birds to perch on their backs. Online, the capybara has become a symbol of harmony and balance as nothing seems to faze it. A true zen on 4 legs. Floating markets are one of the most vibrant sites in Asia, where trade takes place right on the water. In Thailand, Vietnam, and Indonesia, vendors paddle boats filled with fruits, spices, and flowers, while buyers approach them in other vessels. This bustling water bazaar resembles a festival. The scents, voices, movement, and sunlight reflecting on the waves create a lively atmosphere. This has been the way of trading here for centuries, preserving the tradition and spirit of direct interaction. Floating markets are not just a means of making a living. They are the cultural heart of the region. They demonstrate that even on water, a whole world of commerce and joy can be built. Many people don't realize that a regular kitchen can become a source of panic and dread for some individuals. Megarocophobia is not a whim or laziness, it is a serious fear of cooking. As soon as such a person approaches the stove, their heart starts racing and their hands tremble. Even the mere thought of frying something triggers anxiety. This fear may stem from a traumatic experience or an heightened sense of responsibility. Fear of ruining the food or getting burned. Often, people with this phobia avoid cooking for years, opting for takeout or seeking help from loved ones. Interestingly, psychologists successfully address this fear through gradual exposure and breathing techniques. Over time, even someone who once feared the frying pan can rediscover the joy of sizzling oil and the aroma of a home-cooked meal. In Italy, there is a village called Bronte, where houses stand directly on solidified lava. When Mount Etna erupted centuries ago, the lava flows cooled, forming dense stone layers. People decided this was an excellent foundation for construction, and homes, streets, and churches grew right on top of them. To this day, Locals live at the foot of the active volcano and believe that the ancient lava protects them from new eruptions. Walking through Bronte, one can see that the stones underfoot are remnants of former fire. The town built on lava has become a symbol of how humans can tame nature and make it their foundation. The Hercules beetle is a true heavyweight of the insect world, capable of lifting weights 850 times its own. Imagine a person lifting an entire bus. That's roughly what this beetle can do. Its powerful horns help it fight for territory and impress females, while its tough exoskeleton protects it from enemies. It inhabits the tropical forests of South America, where it is regarded as a symbol of resilience and strength. Scientists marvel at its anatomy. Despite its small size, the beetle possesses a muscular power that would make weightlifters envious. The Hercules beetle truly lives up to its name. Nature was clearly inspired by myths. The Lego company maintains a secret underground vault in Denmark that houses every set ever released since the company's founding. It's a true museum of childhood, hidden beneath the surface, where thousands of boxes are organized by year, chronicling the evolution of creativity. From the first wooden blocks to modern robots, everything is meticulously preserved. Only a select few employees have access, as it is a corporate sanctuary. Here, one can trace the history of ideas, witnessing how plastic toys have become a global cultural phenomenon. The Lego Vault is not just an archive. It symbolizes how childhood dreams become timeless. If you saw a pygmy marmoset, you might think it's a toy rather than a real monkey. This tiny creature from the Amazon weighs less than 100 grams and fits in the palm of your hand. Its body is only 15 centimeters long, but it has the energy of an entire troop of monkeys. Marmosets live in noisy family groups where everyone looks after the little ones. They eat tree sap, small insects, and fruits, skillfully jumping between branches like a feather. Despite their size, these monkeys are surprisingly intelligent. They have their own signals, sounds, and even conversations. Scientists have noted that each family uses distinct dialects, as if they have their own language. And honestly, it's hard not to smile when you see a creature smaller than an apple living with such zest. Venice is the only city in the world where streets are replaced by water. There are no cars, no traffic lights, and no familiar roads. Only canals, bridges, and boats. People move through the waves as if they were strolling along boulevards, while gondoliers sing as they guide their boats through the reflections of ancient palaces. The city is built on hundreds of wooden piles driven into the seabed, standing against the elements for centuries. Despite constant flooding, Venice lives, breathes, and enchants millions of tourists. It serves as a reminder that even in the midst of water, a civilization can be built if you have a dream and a bit of stubbornness. Elephants can hear with their feet. Yes, literally. Their sensitive souls pick up vibrations from the ground up to kilometers away. These signals can serve as warnings of danger or messages from other herds. Elephants can discern exactly where a sound originated and even gauge the mood of the source. This ability helps them coordinate movements across the vast savanna. Some scientists refer to it as a sixth sense, as they perceive what is inaudible to our ears. Nature has equipped them with not just ears, but an entire communication system that operates through the ground, like an ancient natural telegraph line. Ducks are true superheroes of the avian world, as they have 3 eyelids. In addition to the usual upper and lower ones, there's a third one. Transparent, like a protective film. It moves from the side and helps to clean the eye from dust and water. Because of this, ducks can see well even underwater, and their vision remains sharp while diving. It's a natural swimming mask built right into their bodies. Imagine if humans had a similar feature. We could dive without goggles. Ducks demonstrate that evolution can create practical and brilliant solutions at the same time. The ice pop was invented completely by chance, thanks to an 11-year-old boy. In 1905, Frank Epperson left a cup of soda with a stick outside overnight. By morning, the mixture had frozen, and he ended up with the first frozen dessert on a stick in history. Years later, he patented his creation and named it popsicle, a word now known worldwide. Millions of people enjoy ice pops without realizing they originated from a child's forgetfulness. It serves as a reminder that great ideas often come about by accident, especially when given a little time and cold. Samsung tests the durability of its phones in a rather unusual way. They literally sit on them. Yes, engineers have created a robot shaped like human buttocks to simulate the situation when a person accidentally sits on a phone in their back pocket. The robot weighs the same as a person and even wears jeans to make the test look as realistic as possible. It repeatedly sits on the smartphone, checking if the body and screen can withstand the pressure. This method may seem amusing, but such tests help determine how durable the device is in everyday life. Imagine, millions of users around the world can rest easy, knowing their phone has passed the test of a steel backside. Sometimes technology really does have a sense of humor. There are over 8,700,000 species of animals on our planet, and this is just an approximate estimate. Scientists believe that about 80% of them are still undiscovered. Every year, biologists describe thousands of new species, ranging from microscopic organisms to giant marine creatures. Imagine how many secrets the jungles, oceans, and underground worlds hold. Many animals live in inaccessible places that humans have yet to reach. This fact serves as a reminder that Earth is still full of wonders, and we know less about it than we think. Perhaps the most astonishing discoveries are still ahead. The oldest tattoo in the world belonged to a man who lived over 5,000 years ago. Archaeologists found him in the glaciers of the Alps. The famous mummy known as Otzi. His body revealed 61 tattoos made up of lines and crosses. Scientists suggest that they had therapeutic significance, as many correspond to points used in acupuncture. This proves that even in ancient times, people used tattoos not only as decoration, but also as a means of healing. Otzi became the first known bearer of an art form that still lives on human skin today. Human vision is one of the most advanced among mammals. Our eyes are equipped with 3 types of cones sensitive to different wavelengths, allowing us to see thousands of shades and distinguish the subtlest nuances of color. Most animals have a much poorer vision. For example, dogs can only perceive yellow and blue tones. Thanks to our vision, the world is filled with colors, from the morning dawn to the rainbow after the rain. Scientists believe that our developed color perception has helped humans become artists, architects, and explorers. We don't just see the world around us. We feel it through colors, and that makes us special. In southern China, there is a place where time seems to slow down. The village of Bama, known for its centenarians. Here, almost every second resident celebrates their 100th birthday, and this is no exaggeration. Scientists have been trying for years to uncover the secret of the locals, and it seems that it's not just about genetics. The air is clean, the water is rich in minerals, and the diet mainly consists of fresh vegetables and herbs. People stay active, work the land, and greet each day with a smile. The elders themselves insist that their longevity is a result of harmony with nature and inner peace. In Bama, no one is in a hurry, no one is angry, and no one complains. Which is why life flows here long and remarkably bright, like a warm stream among the mountains. Superfetation is an extremely rare phenomenon where a woman can become pregnant while already pregnant. This occurs if ovulation continues after conception, leading the body to release another egg. As a result, 2 embryos of different ages develop in the uterus. There are only a few cases of this in the world, but it happens more frequently in the animal kingdom, such as in fish and some mammals. Doctors refer to it as an exception to all biological rules. The very idea of a double pregnancy sounds like the plot of a science fiction film. The human body continues to amaze even those who study it their entire lives. The oldest cheese on the planet was found in a tomb over 3,000 years old. Archaeologists discovered it in China, alongside the mummy of a nobleman from the Bronze Age. The product has remarkably well preserved, a crumbly texture and a slight salty smell. It's as if time stood still. Scientists determined that the cheese was made from a mixture of cow, goat, and sheep milk, and special bacteria made it lactose-free. This means ancient artisans already knew the secrets of fermentation. This artifact proves that the love for cheese has accompanied humanity for millennia, and perhaps it is food that unites the ages. The first frozen dinners appeared only 70 years ago, but they changed the world forever. In 1953, Swanson accidentally created a ready meal while trying to use up leftover turkey after Thanksgiving. This led to the idea of packaging a meal in an aluminum tray and freezing it. It was a sensation. People could heat a full dinner in just a few minutes. Today, the variety of such meals is astonishing, ranging from pizza to sushi. It all started with a simple attempt to avoid wasting food. Indeed, one idea can transform the habits of humanity. You might not have thought about it, but the dust that settles on your shelves is partly made from you. About half of all household dust consists of dead skin cells. Every minute, your body sheds millions of microscopic particles, creating an almost invisible rain. These cells, along with fibers from clothing, hair, and pollen form that familiar gray layer. It doesn't sound very pleasant, but it's a natural renewal process. The skin constantly sheds the old to grow the new, and one of the fatty acids, squalene, even protects the air from ozone, acting as a mini filter. So when you dust, you're essentially cleaning up yesterday's version of yourself. Funny, right? Our bodies literally leave a mark in every room, reminding us that renewal is a part of life. If you could fold a regular sheet of paper 42 times, its thickness would reach the moon. It sounds crazy, but it's pure math. A perfect example of exponential growth. Each time you fold the paper, its thickness doubles. After 10 folds, it would be about the thickness of a coin. After 20, the height of a skyscraper. And after 42, nearly 400,000 kilometers. Of course, in reality, you can't fold a sheet more than 8 times due to material resistance. But the idea itself is astounding. Just a few folds turn a thin sheet into something cosmic. It's a vivid reminder of how quickly numbers grow when it comes to doubling. Math, it turns out, can be just as surprising as magic. Skunks are small animals equipped with a weapon of mass destruction. Their terrible odor is not a coincidence, but a well-thought-out defense system. From special glands at the base of their tails, they spray a sulfurous compound that can deter predators from hundreds of meters away. If that spray lands on clothing, say goodbye to freshness for several days. This scent is unforgettable and hard to wash off, which is why enemies tend to keep their distance. Skunks give a warning before they attack, raising their tails and stomping their feet. It's a fair deal with nature. Don't mess with me and I won't ruin your day. Polar bears can literally disappear from a thermal camera. And this is not a joke but an astonishing feature of their nature. Imagine this. An icy desert around you, you're looking through an infrared camera, and nothing, as if the bear isn't there at all. This is because beneath their fluffy white fur lies a thick layer of fat that retains heat exceptionally well, preventing it from escaping. Thanks to this natural insulation, thermal cameras simply fail to detect their presence. Scientists refer to this phenomenon as a natural invisibility cloak. This fur is not just beautiful. It's perfect for survival in the Arctic. Even in freezing temperatures of -40 degrees, polar bears feel comfortable, as their skin, by the way, is black and absorbs solar heat. There you have it, the kings of the north, masters of camouflage, whom even technology cannot catch. If you shake water vigorously, it can actually boil. And this is no joke. The reason is that during intense shaking, the water molecules start to move faster, converting mechanical energy into thermal energy. In theory, if a person could shake a bottle fast enough, the water inside would indeed boil. Of course, achieving this in practice is nearly impossible, but the idea itself sounds like a miracle of physics. This effect demonstrates how closely movement and heat are connected, and how even a simple action like shaking can change the state of a substance. Next time you pick up a bottle, remember, you hold energy capable of boiling. The story of the most famous chocolate chip cookie begins with a simple deal that forever changed the world of baking. In the 1930s, Ruth Wakefield, the owner of a small tavern, invented the recipe by adding Nestlé chocolate pieces to her dough. The cookies became incredibly popular, and instead of selling the recipe, Ruth struck a brilliant agreement. The company would print her recipe on their packaging, and she would receive a lifetime supply of chocolate. Thus, the famous Toll House cookies were born, ushering in a new era of home baking. Every time you enjoy a chocolate chip cookie, remember that its flavor is backed not just by a recipe, but by a clever deal and the generosity of a culinary spirit. If you take a close look at old clocks with Roman numerals, you'll notice an interesting detail. The 4 on the dial is almost always written as 30 instead of IV. At first glance, this seems like a mistake, but it's actually quite intentional. Medieval clockmakers preferred the 3 for the sake of symmetry. It made the left and right halves of the dial look more balanced. Imagine if one side had IV and the other 30, it would appear visually uneven. Additionally, when clocks were placed on towers, Tarultia was easier to recognize from a distance. Over time, this practice became a tradition, and even modern craftsmen adhere to it, not because it's correct, but because it's aesthetically pleasing. Here's an example of how harmony is more important than mathematics. Bananas are not just a tasty fruit, they are a true source of radioactivity. The reason lies in potassium. It contains the isotope potassium-40, which emits a small amount of radiation. But don't rush to panic. One would have to eat an entire truckload of bananas at once for it to become dangerous. Scientists even joke that one banana is a unit of measurement for radiation dose. This natural characteristic makes bananas a great example of how radiation can be a part of everyday life without posing a threat. So next time you grab a banana, remember, you're holding a safe source of energy. Badgers live in remarkably cohesive communities, and even their collective name sounds unusual. Seat. This ancient term from natural terminology perfectly reflects the nature of these animals. Badgers dig complex underground systems with numerous tunnels and chambers, where they live as families. They clean their burrows, care for their young, and even use toilet areas away from their homes. True neat freaks. Observing them in the wild is like watching a miniature city underground. Their world is filled with order, warmth, and a quiet determination that is so rarely found in the wild. In northern Spain, in the region of Galicia, there stands the City of Culture, a place where almost no one lives. It was built with the ambitious idea of creating a center for art, science, and inspiration. The modern buildings, wave-like roofs, and futuristic style made it look like a city of the future. However, the project turned out to be too expensive, funding was cut, and the grand complex was left empty. Now, tourists, photographers, and architects come here, as the silence of the concrete squares creates a unique atmosphere. It is a city where dreams of great art have become a stone monument to unfulfilled hopes, and there is beauty in this too, for even unfinished ideas can inspire. The shape of Pringles chips is a true masterpiece of mathematics and engineering. It's called a hyperbolic paraboloid, and it's what keeps the chips from breaking and allows them to stack perfectly. This shape evenly distributes pressure, making each piece remarkably crispy. Moreover, this design enabled them to be packaged in the iconic cylindrical cans that have become a symbol of the brand. This is an example of how science and food can work together. The next time you open a can of Pringles, remember that you're holding not just snacks, but the result of precise calculations and brilliant geometry. Hedgehogs, despite their prickly appearance, are excellent swimmers. Their tiny bodies and a layer of light fat under their skin help them stay afloat like miniature rafts. They calmly cross ponds and streams, moving with surprising agility. If necessary, a hedgehog can even dive and hold its breath for a short time. For such a small creature, this is a true survival skill in any conditions. Scientists suggest that their ability to swim aids in foraging for food and escaping danger. So beneath those spines lies a true adventurer, a quiet yet brave traveler through the forest. Fawns are born scentless, and this is perhaps one of nature's most brilliant inventions. After all, scent is the first way a predator can locate its prey, so its absence is a form of salvation. When a female gives birth, she leaves her young in tall grass and moves away to avoid drawing attention. The baby lies still, making no movement and emitting no odor. Even a wolf passing just a few meters away might not notice it. The mother returns only to feed and then leaves again. This clever strategy helps the young survive in their first weeks when they are particularly vulnerable. And if you think about it, there's something touching in this silent, invisible waiting. It's as if nature itself is hiding its young until they grow stronger. Who would have thought that such strange facts are hidden behind familiar things? If you enjoyed being surprised with me, give a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell. There will be even more crazy stories coming up that you definitely haven't heard before.